St. Mark's Lighthouse is a lighthouse located on the east side of the St. Mark's River on Appalachia Bay in Crawfordville, Florida. This National Wildlife Refuge welcomes over 300,000 visitors each year. When you arrive at the refuge, you pass by pine flatwoods, hardwood swamps, and tidal salt marsh to make it to the lighthouse. During the 1820s, the area of St. Mark's was considered a significant port of entry. This town served as a port for the planting region of Middle Florida and some counties of South Georgia. Growers would haul their agricultural products down to the port town in wagons using an early road that connected Tallahassee to St. Mark's. Eventually, this would become the state's first railroad. Once the products reached the port town, they were loaded aboard boats for shipment to New Orleans and St. Augustine. Because of the shallow sections in the Appalachia Bay and the St. Mark's River, there were problems with navigating it. Boats would often run aground and be stuck in the muddy shallows. William P. Duval, Florida's territorial governor, wrote a letter in 1828 to Joseph M. White, a territorial delegate, stressing the need for a lighthouse at the St. Mark's location. In response, White wrote a letter to the New Hampshire Senator Levi Woodbury, who chaired the Senate Committee on Commerce, reiterating the importance of establishing a light at St. Mark's. 11 days after this, the committee issued a report recognizing the town of St. Mark's as an official port of entry and recommending the building of a lighthouse in the area. The U.S. House of Representatives passed an act on May 23, 1828, authorizing the construction of a lighthouse at St. Mark's and appropriated $6,000 for its construction. However, this was not enough. By mid-1829, a contract was signed with Winston Lewis of Boston for the construction of a tower in the St. Mark's area for $11,765. The tower was completed in March of 1830, but was not accepted by the Collector of Customs for St. Mark's, Mr. Jesse H. Williams, because it had been constructed with hollow walls. Calvin Knowlton oversaw the completion of the rebuilding of the tower, and in 1831, Williams accepted the work. In the same year of 1831, the tower's whale oil lamps were lit by Samuel Crosby, who had been appointed the first keeper of the St. Mark's Lighthouse the previous year. Samuel Crosby remained keeper of the lighthouse in 1835 when the Second Seminole Indian War broke out. Because of the Indian attacks on both the Cape Florida and Mosquito Inlet lighthouses, he feared for the safety of his family. He wrote authorities requesting a small detachment of troops be stationed near the lighthouse in order to protect both the lighthouse and his family. Authorities refused this request. He wrote authorities again, only requesting that he be provided with a small boat so that he would be able to evacuate his family in case of an emergency. Authorities refused this request as well. The Seminole Indians did not attack the lighthouse, and Crosby remained head keeper for the next 4 years. In 1842, a new lighthouse was constructed further inland, and the original was torn down due to erosion. The original lantern and illuminating apparatus were reinstalled in the new lighthouse. The new tower survived the destructive hurricanes of the 1840s and 1850s, including the disastrous hurricane of September 1843, which destroyed most of the town of Port Leon and caused major damage to the town of St. Mark's. In 1865, during the time of the Civil War, Confederate troops were stationed near the lighthouse to defend the area against a Union attack. The tower's lighting apparatus was removed to prevent the lighthouse from aiding ships of the Union blockade, which were patrolling the Appalachia Bay. In March 1865, a federal fleet of 16 ships appeared off the coast and began to shell the vicinity of the lighthouse in preparation for landing a force. Between September and December of 1866, the tower was repaired. The lighthouse received a new fourth-order Fresnel lens, which was first lit by keeper David Kennedy on January 8, 1867. This lens has since been removed for preservation in November 2014. The tower was extended an additional 10 feet in 1883, raising its focal point. The tower was also heightened to a focal plane of 82 feet above sea level, and the original lighting apparatus was restored. Charles Fine served as keeper from 1892 to 1904, where he was succeeded by his wife. J.Y. Gresham would serve more years than any other keeper, from 1916 to 1957. During his time at the lighthouse, the St. Mark's National Wildlife Refuge was established in 1931. The refuge now encompasses about 90,000 acres, which serves as wintering habitat for migrating birds. Ownership of the lighthouse was officially transferred from the United States Coast Guard to the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. The Fresnel lens was removed during renovation of the lantern and is now on display in the Refuge Center. If you are interested in learning more about the lighthouse, I have included the contact information for St. Mark's Lighthouse Wildlife Refuge, as well as some websites to visit. Thank you for watching.